Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Kenny, and this is Triangle Season 3, Episode 29, and the name of this episode is Beguile. Man, that ending, y'all, I was so not ready for that. Man, I'm like, I feel some kind of way about that, but it was done so well. And it was just like the shocker of all shockers. But I think that what happened at the end of this episode is going to definitely take on a life on its own, especially going into season 4. Because I was like, whoa, I can't believe this shit. But yeah, I'm definitely going to get into that. But before I get started, let me say here, subscribe to brtbtv.com. If you have not already done so, do it right now. I have the link in the description box. You can click it after you watch this review or before you watch this review. Go over there, subscribe, to brtbtv.com and get on, and get with, Triangle, because this show, I have to say, is probably the best web series out right now, hands down. And also, I will also suggest that you check out the Triangle Fan Club, on Facebook. You get everything Triangle. You get the latest developments. You get and you even can sometimes talk with some of the cast. I mean, you get everything on the Triangle Fan Club. So definitely interact with the Triangle Fan Club because you get everything Triangle. And also, I'm also going to put a link down. The Triangle family is actually trying to do an additional 3 videos, 3 episodes. Pretty much, in the heat of the night, the 3 novellas. And, if you can actually make a contribution to actually help them to get the equipment and get everything that they need so they can do these extra 3 videos, anything you can give is accepted. If you only can give 5, if you can give 500, do it. But at the end of the day is that, we definitely want to support, this team of creative people who are literally working their asses off, around the clock, giving us this great work, these great scenes, great production, great acting, great direction. So, if you can, help out the Triangle family by giving them a contribution towards, getting these 3 episodes, done, it will be the world to the whole Triangle family if they can get that support. And I will have that link in the description box as well, where you can go and make a contribution, if you so choose to. But I hope you do, because trust me, it's worth it. To get started, we pretty much see, and I'm pretty much going to try to group everything together. Pretty much, one situation you had is with Corinne, Jarrell, and Jabril. And instantly, when the episode starts, we see that there's something that went down in Davenport Industries. We don't know exactly yet, but we know something really bad went down, because Jabril is just over the moon. He's just about had it. So Corinne and Jarrell come up in there. Corinne, shout out to Dorothy Myers. She's a sweetheart. She definitely follows me, in all of my other social platforms. She's a great actress. I love her as Corinne because she always delivers, with that character playing Jabril's mom. Because we definitely know that Corinne, she didn't play like she's sweet as pie, but she messy as all hell. So immediately when we see Corinne is going the fuck off, and she treats Jarrell like it's her baby because for so long it's been just the 2 of them. So her and Jabril are having a conversation as if like Jarrell ain't even there, because Corinne is mad because she now knows about him getting Melanie pregnant. So now she knows that Jarrell is about to be a daddy. Or is he? But, I'm going to get to that. But she comes in there and she's going off on Jabril like, you're supposed to have been watching him. You're supposed to have been showing him a better way. And look, not only did he get locked up, but now he done got some girl pregnant. What the hell? And then Jabril is like, little do you know, Corinne, Jarrell is a grown man. He can actually do for himself. I mean, he should know about the birds or the bees, unless you skip teaching him that. And Corinne was like, look, I don't know who the hell you think you are, but you are not going to disrespect me. And then Jarrell's like, calm down, Jarrell, this is our mother. But Jarrell's like, look, I'm be a man and I'm a handle mine. I want this baby, and I want to show that I can be a man that can take care of my responsibilities. And pretty much, Corinne is still she's still heated, and she is just like in her own zone. And Jarrell just tells her like, Mom, won't you go downstairs and just cool yourself off and let me talk to Jabril? So him and Jabril have a conversation. They go back and forth, and within this conversation, Jarrell asks Jabril for a job at Davenport Industries. And, he kind of even jokes with him. He says, like, I even put together a resume, and he says, okay, where is it? He's like, oh, man, Jabril, I left it at home. He's like, really? And Jarrell was like, come on, man, we live together. Chill out. But he said that, and then he had said that, just give me whatever I can get. I'm really trying to be a man, and I'm really trying to get enough income so I can take care of this child. I really want to be in my child's life, and I want to give my child the best. And I was just like, man, Jarrell is so fucking awesome. Because when we first met him, he has made a tremendous, progression. In his attitude and his delivery, the how he handles things. It's like we literally seen Jarrell literally take the bull by the horns and show the kind of man he is. And even Jabril was impressed, because Jabril at first was joking like, well, we do have an opening, in the janitorial department, and he's like, man, I'll take anything. He's like, for real? You actually think I'm gonna have my brother working at a janitor in our family's in my family's business? Hell no. I'm gonna get you in on the entry level, administrative position. So we see that goes on. So next thing after that, we see that Christian meets up with Fallon. Fallon, decides to let Christian know that well, for one, Christian let Fallon know that me and Jabril ain't speaking with each other. We in the same building, but I ain't talking to him, he ain't talking to me. I'm doing what I gotta do, and I ain't even worried about his ass right now. But then, Fallon's like, look, I wanted to come and tell you something, in regards to this whole Ashton / Ulysses situation. She's like, look, I actually talked, to like my ex-husband, because my ex-husband actually was the one who had an affair with Ashton and created all this crap. So she pretty much tells him what Clint told her, that that Ashton is dead, and that this person, Ulysses, is Ashton's twin brother, and that Clint pretty much said that what he was trying to do was trying to make Ulysses Ashton, since Ashton's dead. But when we really think about this, is Ashton really dead though? Or even better, was Clint telling the full truth? Because we know Clint to play, he's like, he's pretty much like a neurotic sociopath. He likes to play with words, and he definitely likes to play with truths and untruths, and he kind of mixes them in to the point where you're thinking you're getting the real story, but there's always something that's off, and it throws off everything. Because, the whole idea, like, one bad apple spoils a bunch, that's pretty much how Clint is with his facts and trivials, and how he likes to spin shit. So pretty much Fallon lets Christian know that, look, that's Ulysses that's with you, and I hope you guys can reconnect, and I hope the best for you. And of course, Christian kind of like comforts Fallon or whatever, because she can tell something's bothering Fallon. And there's a lot bothering Fallon. One, if you watch the last episode, she finds out that this guy, Richard Lawson, could possibly be her father, and that she may not really be a Davenport. But then also, there's another thing that happened, which I'm about to get into, because Fallon was actually there to see Jabril, but she ran into Christian along the way. So, we actually see that Fallon actually meets up with Jabril. We find out that whole meeting in New York that Julian went to, Julian went there and completely did some ridiculous fuck shit. What this fool did was that he sold off most of the shares of Davenport Industries to Lawrence Hampton, a rival competitor of the Davenports. So now that this guy's a major shareholder, and due to the fact that Davenport Industries is a public traded company, this fool pretty much can call all the shots. You know, regardless whether there's a CEO or not, he's above them. He owns the shares of the company in which they operate in. So this is probably one of the worst things that can happen to a big company like Davenport Industries, where your arch rival now owns most of the shares of your company. So if he wants to clean everybody out, he can do that. And we also found out that within the deal, he saw that pretty much Jabril, when her and Jabril was having this conversation, they said that, yeah, my name was signed, but Julian forged my signature. So he is completely over it, and he's like, you know, it's funny. You really had to stoop this low to get back at me because you got mad that you got outed by Davenport Industries. And then Fallon's like, what the fuck you talking about? I had nothing to do with this. Like, oh, really? You mean to tell me that you and your little son ain't try to plot this shit so you can try to take me down and you can be, you know, the head of Davenport again? You're still that vindictive that you would stoop this low to get the company back from under me? And she's like, look, Jabril, I don't know what the hell you smoking or whatever, but I had nothing to do with this. I'm just as clueless to this as you are. But he pretty much let him know that I'm a fuck Julian up. And then she's like, oh, no. That's still my child, Jabril. That's still my child, you know. And Jabril was like, you better get to him before I do. And especially, you better get to him before our father gets to him. So I'm like, ooh, yeah, Baron will kill your ass. I mean, hell, we saw in Davenport Diaries, you know, that he put out a hit on Tessa, you know, the mother of his children. What makes you think he won't get rid of Julian's ass? So, we definitely saw that go down. Also, you know, going back to, you know, after, you know, Jarrell leaves Davenport Industries, he goes home with Corinne, and he gets a visit from Melanie. Now, before Melanie shows up, we see a scene that she has with Kiko. Her and Kiko going back and forth, and she opens up to Kiko about a rendezvous that she had that nobody knew about. She said she wrecked this guy, she gave him a fake name, they exchanged numbers, and she never thought she was going to see him again. But the night that she had sex with Jarrell, the condom broke. She goes to the airport, you know, her flight was delayed. Somehow, coincidentally, her and Julian run into each other. They get a room at the airport and they have sex. Raw dog. And I'm like, damn, Melanie just went for the 2-for-1 special and she was just a happy camper. So she went to Africa, you know, having a 2-for-1 in one night. And then like Kiko was like, damn girl, you had 2 dudes in one night? Really? So you really don't know who the daddy is. And immediately Melanie's like, the father is Jarrell. Regardless, the father is Jarrell. It is not that guy. We only had sex once, but I'm like, but girl, you had unprotected sex with him now. So it could possibly be Julian's. And that's going to really be some shit if that's the case. Whew. But yeah, we see that she met with Kiko. Her and Kiko shared his words, and she's like, "Look, I'm not gonna say anything. I got you." But Kiko was throwing mad shade at her ass. She's like, "Oh my God, I can't wait to see you on Murray to see who the baby does." I was like, "Oh my God, Kiko, you give me life, girl." So yeah, Kiko kind of like was cutting up with her, but then we see that Melanie leaves, and actually goes to meet up with Jarrell. And she meets Corinne for the first time. Immediately, Corinne is like reading her for filth, and she's like, well, now that, I see that you're either careless or stupid, I hope that you will make the best decision, because, Corinne is like, she's saying that she should abort the baby. First of all, she's like Jarrell, you can't even take care of yourself, so you can't take care of no kid. And obviously, this girl is loose in the ass, and she don't know what to do with herself. So, and then it got to a point where her and Melanie kind of went back and forth. And Melanie was like, told Jarrell, like, look, you need to check your mother, because your mother don't know me like that, and she has no right to disrespect me. And Corinne was like, look, you better get out of here, little girl. I'm not the one. You do not want it with me. And she's like, and then like, Dan, so he pretty much, Jarrell pretty much takes Melanie aside, because, Melanie ain't backing down. Melanie's having these morning sicknesses. She's pretty much going through all this physical change. She is very fucking snappy, and she don't give a shit whose feelings she hurts. So she was going back and forth with that, and then like Jarrell kind of took her aside, and was like letting her know that, look, I can't be having you going off on my mom like that. And I'm like, look, but your mother disrespect. Like, look, I'm not trying to disrespect your mother, but I be damn, I'm going to let her disrespect me. So they have a conversation about the baby. She pretty much tells him about the doctor visit and about her being diagnosed with FHA, and that this baby that she has is a miracle baby, and it can be the only time she can have a child, because, she didn't think she could have children. But yet she has this miracle baby, and she's like, and pretty much Jarrell's like, look, I know what I want, but at the end of the day, it's your decision, and I respect whatever decision you make. And she's like, okay, well, I'm thinking about since it's my only time to have a baby, I'm thinking about having a baby, and I'll give it to you, and you can raise it. And he's like, well, dang, I was hoping we was going to co-parent. I didn't think you were just going to get a baby to me. She's like, look, I don't want nothing to do with the baby. I don't want to be a mother. I'm not ready to be a mother right now. But then Jarrell was like, well, maybe things may change down the line. And she says, maybe. But until then, that's what my mind is made up. I'm going to have the baby, and I'm going to give the baby to you to raise. Then we get a scene with Kiko and Mason, and Kiko lets Mason know what went down with Sean. And she spills the beans. And also, I didn't mention this in the last review I did, but we definitely learned from the last episode that Troy was the one who brought Sean into the business. Because at first, when we had that scene when when Clint was tearing Sean's back out, that scene when he had mentioned Troy, it made it seem as if like Sean was the one who brought Troy on, but no, Troy was the one who brought on Sean. So I'm like, we actually see that, yeah, that damn Troy's a mess. And they also, and also Mason tells her about Troy. So they pretty much exchange, what happened, where, she tells about Sean being a power bottom, that he's Clint's bitch, and, he's been having sex with Clint. So I'm over that shit. I'm done. And pretty much Mason, pretty much talks about, Troy, and how Troy, when he said that he was going to call, Troy's mother and his grandmother and let them know that he's escorting, Troy threw out that shit, well, I'm going to tell everybody you molested me and shit. So, and like, Kiko's like, what the fuck? Like, that don't even sound like you. That don't even sound like anything you would do. She's like, I know, it's a fucking lie, but I just realized that my damn nephew's the fucking Antichrist. And I was like, wow. So they pretty much had that conversation. And then we actually get a scene where we actually see Chloe. Now, we were first introduced to Chloe, on Davenport Diaries. She's Kat's daughter, but it's been kept a secret because of who Chloe's father was and his ties to, some dangerous forces. So, Kat pretty much had her raised, in a boarding school in Europe, and it's kind of like kept her low key, and no one knows that Chloe is her daughter. Well, she did mention it to Julian. And, we definitely saw from Davenport Diaries that Kat has been kidnapped, so Chloe has come to Jabril to ask him to help her find her mother, because this is just not like her. We have not seen her since the launch party. Her sisters don't know where she is. Nobody knows anything. And then, Jabril is like, look, I want to help you, but you're going to have to give me more information, because you're just, like an intern or something like that. Why are you so invested and worried about what's Kat? What is your connection to Kat? What the hell is going on? She finally confesses to Jabril that Kat's her mother, and that they had to keep it hidden because of her father and him being tied to some dangerous people. So, and they could actually use me as a bargaining chip, so my mother kept my identity hidden. She had me raised in a boarding school in England, in Europe, and, that's pretty much where I've been the whole time. But then, next thing you know, she starts talking about Julian, and she just goes in on Julian's ass. She's like, first of all, that dude's a loser. He is somebody that can't be trusted. I think this guy was really in love with me, but really all he wanted was my virginity, and once he got my virginity, he was on some other shit. And he's done a whole bunch of messy shit. And if y'all saw Davenport Diaries, y'all definitely saw how messy Julian was. How he was messing around with Jordan, a.k.a. Liberace, and then started eating out Chloe in the boardroom, and then was flirting with Chadwick's sister. I mean, he was just doing the most. And I was just like, this motherfucker is a terrorist. And pretty much she said that, so pretty much Jabril's like, she pretty much tells him that, I'm staying in a hotel. Chloe tells him that she's staying in a hotel up there, and Jabril's like, okay, within a few days we can go to D.C. and we can start backtracking everything prior to the launch party, and then kind of figure out what could have happened in between them, as to why Kat's missing, because nobody knows what Kat is. So that's going to be interesting to see because we definitely saw that Kat was kidnapped in Davenport Diaries, but we don't know exactly her whereabouts. We just know that she got gagged, and that was it. So, in time, we're going to find out what really happened to Kat and whether she's either dead or alive. Okay, next we actually have a scene with Christian and Ashton / Ulysses. That's what I'm going to call him, Ashton / Ulysses, because personally, I don't think that's Ulysses. I think that's Ashton. And from my hypothesis, because I've had a few people who are fans of the show who hit me up and asked me, do I think, how is that person Ulysses if he had that flashback about Clint? I'm like, good possibility. But then I was like, possibly is that Clint's lying? Because we know Clint is spinning the truth. So we actually see that, him and Ulysses are connecting. He takes him to New York and everything, but still, I like the fact that, he's using sexual restraint. Because twice, Dr. Lorenzo with Winston, with Clint, Clint was damn near trying to, aggressively rape his ass. It's like he kind of always gave in to the sex. And this time he's not sure of who he is and what he's about, so he's not ready to jump into nothing because he don't know who to believe anymore. Because he's been lied to since he's been conscious. He's been told so many different stories. So I'm glad that he actually used restraint, and I see that Christian's respecting it. So that's actually pretty cool. Next, we actually have a scene with Julian and Fallon. Fallon goes off on his ass like, you motherfucker. Not only what you did, not only did you ruin the family's name, you pretty much damn near ruined our whole foundation of our family within the whole structure of Davenport Industries. You literally sold this sold this company to our enemy. And then on top of it, you don't even realize that you're fucking yourself up by doing this shit. Because this could all be yours. And he's like, man, I don't care about this shit. I don't give a shit. And I'm like, Julian's still going talking his shit. And then saying that I got all this ammunition and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, Valen just got to the point where she was like, you know what? You need to sit your ass down because Jabril is onto you. And Jabril is a motherfucker that will not let go until he gets you. So, you need to go hide. I need to get you away from this shit. I'm gonna hook you up with Winston. Winston's gonna find a place for you to go, because at the end of the day, you know, you done did too fucking much. Not only is Jabril after you, but also my father, and the two of them are ruthless. They will fuck you up. So I gotta hide your ass. And then this motherfucker Julian gonna start talking his shit like, well, I got stuff on Barrett. I got a whole bunch of shit on Barrett. You wanna know? She's like, I do not wanna know about what you got on my father. I don't wanna know. I'm like, yeah, because we all know what Julian knows about, you know, Jabril pretty much having, you know, power bottom sessions with his little boy toy Ian. And, you know, Ian, along with Julian, was shot in the Doomsday episode. But as far as we heard that, you know, Ian is still alive. But yeah, that whole situation went down, and, you know, she pretty much told Julian, like, look, I gotta hide you, because if I don't, they're gonna fuck you up. And then she again kind of said that, you know, because he started saying that, you know, because it got to the point where she started to see herself in Julian. She's like, oh my God, you are just like me. You literally are a person, you're literally just like me. Like, when you get emotionally riled up, you just fucking go ape shit. I do the same thing. And he's like, oh no, you know, and he's still trying to be in denial. I'm nothing like you. I can never be like you. She's like, boy, you more like me than you realize. You know, I know you still want to believe that your father was God, but your father was a piece of shit. Your father raped me when I was 14. That's how you were conceived. And obviously your father used to beat the shit out of you. But, you know, at the end of the day, you got more in me than you realize. So we see that she, you know, hooks up with Winston, and they pretty much hide him. Then we actually see a scene with Corinne and Jabril. Corinne is happy for two reasons. She's happy that Jarrell has stepped up, and now Jarrell now has position in Davenport. But definitely, Corinne is definitely playing another angle, because she's been trying to get Jarrell to fucking work for Davenport Industries. But Jarrell is not thinking in terms of, I'm trying to get money from the Davenports. He's like, I'm trying to earn money to provide for my kid. So we saw that, yeah, Corinne is happy for two reasons. She's happy that, yeah, her son has manned up, but then she's also happy because she thinks she's gonna get some of those ends off of Jabrill's money. But so pretty much her and Jabril have a conversation, and he pretty much says that, look, Jarrell, out of everybody, has been the most loyal, has been the most honest, has been the most sincere person I know, and I will do everything in my power to protect him. Hold on to that. Next, we see that Fallon and Winston have a situation, and let me say, Data K. Price and Christina Porter, y'all both of you ripped the living shit out of this scene, because so much happened, and it was all about Ashton and Ulysses. The same shit she told Christian, she has now told Winston that Ashton is actually dead, and the person you were with was not Ashton, it was his twin brother Ulysses. Fucking Winston's like, girl, you full of shit. That was fucking Ashton. I know that was Ashton. Like, you can't fucking tell me that otherwise. And she's like, well, how do you know anyway? She's like, well, Clint told me. She's like, you're going to listen to fucking Clint? Really? You're going to listen to Clint? Like, I don't believe a damn thing Clint says. Fuck that shit. Like, no, that was Ashton. Ashton was in bed with me. That was him. And then she pretty much lets him know, I know, and then she pretty much says that, look, you remember Christian? You know, the guy that Jabril used to date? Yeah, he's like, yeah, I vaguely remember him. So, like, okay, he pretty much knows Ulysses. He's got pictures of them going years, way before Ashton was even thought of. So, that guy you was with was Ulysses. It was not Ashton. He's like, man, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying none of this shit. And then Fallon decides to drop the bomb. Well, I know, you know, she pretty much like, well, just to let you know, I had pretty much paid, you know, Clint an incentive. And he's like, why the hell would you pay him an incentive for? He's like, I paid him an incentive for you know, to pretty much tell Ashton the truth. So now he realizes that whole scene that went down in I think it's in Agapese's episode. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. But in that episode, he now realizes Fallon set that shit up, and he's like, you fucking held me when I was in tears and rocked me, and the whole damn time you knew exactly what you was doing. You saw that I was happy and you wanted to ruin it. And then Fallon was like, yeah, I did. And, you know, it is what it is. I mean, I hurt you deliberately to help you. And he goes off. He's like, you know what? You are the most insensitive, selfish, conniving bitch I've ever met. And, you know, there is really no good in you whatsoever. You are fucking rotten, and you act like a 12-year-old brat. And he goes off on Fallon. And Fallon just like, well, I don't know why you mad for. I mean, at the end of the day, you're complaining about this and about that, but everything you've done for this family, you got paid for. So at the end of the day, play your role. So pretty much, she wants him back as her minion. And now, and pretty much, she kind of lets it be known that, what you gonna do? Yeah, I get it. You know, you just need to realize that Ashton's dead. You know, pull the, stop with your fucking crying. Stop acting like a punk. Man the fuck up, and let's handle business. And Winston just goes to the point where he's just like, you know what? I am so over this shit. You know what? If you ain't coming with no motherfucking money, I don't give a fuck about your husband. I don't give a fuck about your boyfriend. I don't give a fuck about you being unhappy. Bitch, you can sit in the corner and cry your eyes out. I don't give a shit. All I know is that this nothing but strictly business. Here it is. I thought we was going to be partners, but really, it's all about you. You always make it about you. She's like, yeah, it is. Exactly. Are you surprised? I mean, she was given so much bitch tease in this episode, but I'm like, Fallon, you messy as shit, because at the end of the day, this person is your fixer. So he knows all the dirt in the Davenport family, and he's the one who hid your son. Now that you done rock the boat and talk your shit, you don't think that you just made an enemy out of Winston? Winston can fix shit, but he can also destroy shit. So keep your eyes open with that one. But yeah, he pretty much let her know that, look, if it ain't about the money, I don't give a fuck about you or any damn body else. I'm all about mine. And if you ain't paying, don't you fucking call me, bitch. And I was like, ooh. I was like, damn, Winston. He went in on Fallon's ass. And it was much deserved, because Fallon, you and Ashton had this shit in season 1. This is now season 3. Let it go! Damn. Okay. Next, we actually have a scene with Melanie and Mason. I'm going to talk about it real quick. Pretty much, she lets him know that she had met with Jarrell and that she told him that she was going to give him a baby. And of course, he's saying the same thing. You're not giving him that baby, girl. You crazy? But then she said that in all honesty, this baby can bring everybody together, the Hawkins, the Davenports, this baby is very important, and I think that we all should just be a family and learn to get along with each other for the sake of this child. Because she's like, look, you're going to be an uncle, and Jabril's going to be an uncle. You're both going to be uncles to this baby. So you guys need to, whatever it is, just bury it and move on. Life is too short for all that. And it starts to soften Mason's heart. Now, remember, a few episodes ago, he put a hit out on Jabril. So, what ends up happening is that we see Mason goes outside or goes somewhere. He calls Jesus, and Jesus was kind of giving John coffee keys, because he pretty much said that, look, I don't want to go with it. I don't want to go through it. I don't want to go through with it anymore. Call it off. I'm like, Mason, this ain't Macy's. This not a fucking catalog. You can't fucking put out a hit and think they're gonna take it back. No, once a hit is out, a hit is done. And pretty much, Jesus was like, I'm glad you had a change of heart, but it's too late. And he's like, no, just call it off. He's like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What's done is done. So pretty much Mason's like, oh, well, all right then. Next thing you know, we see the unthinkable happen. We see a knock on the door. Jarrell opens the door. The person asks, are you Jabril Davenport? He says yes. And he says, this is for Adonis. And shoots him twice at point blank range. I was like, holy shit. This is going to be a motherfucking shitstorm like no other. Because as far as Mason, due to the fact that you did this shit, and yeah, it was meant for Jabril, but Jarrell got killed, yeah, you might as well, I think Jarrell's dead. I mean, pretty much you saw the red. Red pretty much kind of symbolizes blood and death. So I'm like, yeah, I think Jarrell, and the way he was shot, yeah. I mean, it will be a miracle if he makes it through, and I hope he does. But I think that Jarrell is going to be with the heavenly angels, man. And it was just so sad, because here it is, he got taken out off of somebody else's shit, and he was completely innocent. He was just a man trying to do the right thing, and this shit happens. But as far as like the shitstorm's gonna cause, because not only Mason did Tessa got a bone to pick with you, but now you're now gonna get hell from Jabril, Corinne, and even fucking Melanie. So let's see how this all plays out. But that's my review, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I love to talk to you guys. Feel free to comment. Let me know what you guys thought about tonight's what you thought about this episode. That's actually the next day. I actually saw it last night though, but it's still brand new. But yeah, subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Like this video, comment on this video, share this video, and I will be back with the next episode of Triangle. And if I'm not, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think the next episode is going to be the season finale of season 3. But yeah, definitely stay tuned, because things are going down. So until next time, everybody, take care.